this segment is about the difference between the classic and the remake. And we're strictly talking about movies. And even though the illustration that's going to come up, I feel like there's not even a close. There's no doubt about it that the classic beats the shit out of this remake and this weird ass thing that they came out with Johnny Depp. But I'm gonna actually say, is it just E? And I'll give you some stats of some of the movies that I feel that way, and one that the homie Mike brought up that I actually agree with is that I'm gonna say that it's 50-50 that classics and remakes are not so far apart when it comes to doing the difference, right? When it comes to your classic versus your remake, right? Usually you say you can't mess a classic up, or when you do a remake, it's not going to be as good as a classic. But I'll give you a couple of remakes that I totally agree with that are better than the classics. And one of my favorite movies is Bram Stoker's Dracula. That Dracula is better than the original Dracula. I don't care how old it was, done when it was black and white, whatever. I don't care. The other one is actually, if you realize it, Scarface is actually a remake. Do your research. Scarface is a remake, better than the original.
No one talks about the original.
No, of course not. Of course not. And Man on Fire, again, Denzel killed that role, right? So here you got a bunch of remakes that are actually better than, the originals. However, let's just be honest, where you have like the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, there's no way, right? I'm watching the classic in all its greatness compared to that weirdo shit that Johnny Depp was in, right?
That was, Tim Burton.
I feel like you want to start, Kaleo?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I feel like when the first one is such a hit, I mean, even when we're talking about when studios are doing, like series and stuff, it's always hard for the second one to beat the first one, when you're doing the sequel and everything. And we do have some examples where the sequels are actually better than the original. But in the same family, when we're talking about a remake and compared to an original, if we talk about the remake examples that we will generally consider to be better, it's because the original joints no one talks about, or they were kind of like not what we were expecting. For example, Dune is coming out, and the original Dune movie is mocked like famously in the science fiction community for how bad it was and how it strayed away from the source material. And people are actually excited about the remake because of how bad the first one was. And it's, kind of wild to think like, they didn't get a sequel, originally, but they're going to get a remake like decades later or whatever, and there are certain, I guess, movie franchises that, they do the reinvention thing so many times. How many different Spider-Mans have there been? Even Mortal Kombat just had, their movie that came out, which I did enjoy. But, I think that but it's hard to have a classic original and then do a remake. Like usually those are the situations where it's like, dog, this is going to be a money grab, and this is probably going to be trash.
I agree. One of the key ones is, and anybody who's just straight up about movies, Steel Magnolias, the classic, there's no way the remake even touches that original. That movie in itself, nobody can redo Weezer. You know what I'm saying? Like that in itself, and the characters that were in that movie, it couldn't have been done again. Now, yes, was the cast that they tried to do the remake, it was a good cast. But if they would have done it, and I think that's where it comes to that point, right? Is are we looking for the movies to be classics remake, as in they follow the actual one, or are we looking at it as they kind of carved their lane of we kept some of the classic that we knew the fans wanted to see, but we also kind of put in our own, our own twist to it, or at least our own storyline, which you kind of give a better thing to. Like, there's certain ones that there's no way in hell I would even watch that if they ever tried to redo, like 7. Like, if they ever tried to redo 7, there's no way I'm watching that shit, because that whole movie in itself is raw to the point where you can't get that again. Though that acting the way it was, you can't get that again.
Right. I mean, I think I agree. First of all, the original Willy Wonka can't be touched. I mean, you can't touch it. That's a classic.
Fuck Grandpa Joe. Fuck Grandpa Joe. And he's the same. Fuck his ass. Like, this dude, yo, this man literally was in bed for 20 years, not doing a damn chore.
All of a sudden,
Granny, he still didn't do a damn chore, but he went to the chocolate factory. Fuck Grandpa. Just so we get that out of the way.
All of a sudden, he hopped right out the bed into a dance routine with his grandson, and then
his legs didn't work for 20 years. This motherfucker's got a dance routine.
Like the gold.
Listen, I don't care if we don't do nothing else. You better put that on one of the damn clips.
Grandpa Joe.
Grandpa Joe. The way that CB just went up.
Grandpa Joe, man.
I think.